Hello, JacksorJacksor here, and we're taking a look at the Reaper project for ColourMeIn, which is a song I released at the end of March of 2024, and has just had a video come out. And so just in celebration of that video, I wanted to take a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look at the actual music project, the actual audio project, all 127 tracks of it, and just to kind of point out some interesting things, or things that I think might be interesting along the way. I've been meaning to do this for a while, and so as I go, if there's any things that people are interested in that I don't really talk about, then please ask, and I will do a follow-up to cover some things. So quickly, ColourMeIn, a song that I wrote very much. I was writing songs every month, and I wanted to write a song specifically dedicated to the unplugged open mic that I was doing. I've just dropped a pen over there. The unplugged open mic that I was doing every month, called Flute Nanny, and the Flute Nanny is this, and it continues to be a brilliant combination of ostensibly music and spoken word, and I really wanted to focus a lot more on the lyric writing than music. And so this started very much as being essentially a poem, and then with music, and it was actually going to be a really stripped down guitar and vocal thing. This was actually written on guitar, and then gradually it became a piano and vocal thing, and it actually was meant to finish around here, and then I just wanted this outro section, and that's what we've got. So that's the whole song, and so it's very much dedicated to that sort of like essentially a spoken words tradition more than anything. ColourMeIn is very much about how I was dealing personally with SAD, so seasonal affective disorder, and how that had impacted me quite a bit during the winter seasons. And it's also sort of tied into a poem, or at least a quote within a Spike Milligan poem about "You color my tired mind." Is a sort of boiled down to be a love message to or at least a message of caring to another human. And so the idea of coloring minds and then losing color and so forth being sort of the extended metaphor that's going on for this. So without further ado, here is the tune. So if you haven't listened to the song before, probably recommend taking a bit of a pause and watching the video that Matt released. It's brilliant. There'll be a link in the description. And yeah, so for this, to kick off with, one of the things that I really wanted to go on about a little bit to give some moment was the recording of these pianos. So if we listen to these opening pianos, there's really like dark texture to them. And one of the things I actually did was to record the piano parts at double speed. So it'll sound like this, with a bit of delay. So let's just go and bypass that. Apologies. Cool. So just going to bypass that so you can hear. So this is how the piano was recorded, and then we just put it at half speed. So the whole deal, the reason that this gets us this kind of texture is that we get this slow motion version of things, and if we do exactly double speed and then half that, then we get an octave down. And so that gets us into that sort of range that we're actually talking about. There's quite a bit of that going on. There's quite a lot of parts which were recorded at double speed and then halved. So this, there's another, I think it'll be these bits. No, my apologies. Where are you? That's more chordal, but it'll be this. Piano flute is what it's called. Here? Oh, it's this? Sorry. I specifically haven't opened this project before doing this. There we go. So, and we can mute everything else. So these quintuplets here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can actually see that it says rate rate a half, because that was originally recorded at double speed. So if we go, there's rate here. Where are you? Here we go, playback rate. So specifically here. So that's actually what it's recorded as, but then sped it down. So basically, you can obviously pitch shift it, but I quite like the tech that you can hear like the more digital side of the pitch shifting. So I quite wanted to just have a slowed down version of the same. So to me, it just gives a bit more depth, and it's just a kind of slightly more interesting texture to me personally. So I really, really like that. So that happens quite a bit. I think these chords might have also been the same. Might have been. I did a bunch of like re-rendering and stuff like that. So. And that's muted anyway. Apologies. These are just like slightly time adjusted. You can kind of see the 0.98, and that's just more or less to get the chords bang in time. I believe these have been rendered anyway. But the point being, quite a lot of the piano was recorded twice as fast as it is intended to then be slowed down to get a darker texture. For sure. So let's just go back. This is it. I should really know my hotkeys. Oh, first of all, it's literally just the button in the top right. So let's just do that. There's certainly a hotkey for just enabling and disabling. And then we'll just get rid of all the solos. So let's talk about these vocals for a bit. So bleaches color from my mind. There we go. That's the hotkey for thing. Yeah. So basically, vocals pretty standard. I had done a cover of an Ostel song called Sophie, and that I had specifically sang quite high register. And then one of my close friends, Kit, said that he quite liked that sort of texture. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a song which is kind of slightly higher up. So this is sort of a response to that, basically. Bleaches color. There'll be bits of like tuning going on, and then nothing too crazy. Bits of backing vocal harmonies. Not an awful lot. Again, I think personally, I am really working to improve the vocal production, which might just be a case of more vocals. But just in general, I think I probably do it if I did it again. Would want something slightly more full. But at the same time, it's quite nice in its scarcity, in my opinion. There's pros and cons. For these pianos as well, there's quite a bit of automation going on in terms of the delays. So let's go find them. So it'll be here. Give me 2 seconds. So if we look here, bear with me. So we're going to go select all envelopes. Yeah, so here we go. So this is the automation on the delay. So if we take a look, so this is timeless. This is my delay of choice. So we're going to see the time change with that automation. Can I get it in a way that'll be helpful to see? Cool. So for example, we will see this moving around. There is kind of this drawn out sort of sense, and then here we're a little more drastic with some of it. Like, and that's a really lovely moment. Again, which is just coming from automating the delay. And also, like, I mean, the whole point of the SAM project, you know, the kind of song a month thing, was really to get better at this kind of automation and to sort of introduce that far more. And I think this is a moment that I really, really enjoyed as well. Let's go and hide that. There's a whole bunch of ways I could do this. The standard thing of when you're presenting stuff is going into some really odd habits of, of how you use a computer. So, all right, and then, so we've got, that's kind of the majority of what's going on. It's funny how we've got like piano, trumpet. I think like because of the band that I write for, the JacksorJacksor band is like this kind of big multifaceted thing. I think in my mind these were trumpets. So I think I pretty sure I'd written like the parts. So this is being a flute part. And then sort of, and I think I arranged it and then played it, or possibly the other way. I honestly can't remember. Or I just mentally went, cool, that's going to be a flute part. I actually don't recall quite why they are called flutes and trumpets, but it makes me chuckle that that's where they're at. And then, yeah. Oh yeah, and there's another fun bit of automation coming up. It should probably be here. Cool, so if we get rid of everything and we just listen to this. Yeah, so what we're seeing here is gradually automating the mix, the delay time, and the amount of feedback that we're getting from that delay, especially this sort of like... you know, into those kind of moments. Again, do it again. If I did it again, I'd probably bring that more to the fore, but it's quite nice that it's there in general. I think it's a really, really lovely texture. Then we get into this sort of middle section here. So we actually start bringing in some of, like, there's an organ sound. This is where we actually start bringing in the organs. Oh yeah, so this is Pigments. Pigments is my VST of choice, though it takes ages to load when you first click it, which has really started to bother me recently. It's just, again, one of those sort of like first world problems. Why does my VST take so long to load? Basically in the background, it's doing a bunch of security checks, I believe. Now it won't take that much longer, but the first time, it's really, really irritating. But yes, we've got this quote-unquote dirty organ preset. Probably did some amount of like, you know, it typically will start with presets and then kind of like adjust accordingly, adjust to taste. And then we got this sort of like ascending, nothing too crazy, just a bunch of like pad chords there going on, but that's like the first. Everything else is the sound of this piano here. Boop. How does so this Nord piano there, and then also my own vocals. For some of the more rhythmically precise bits, like the quintuplets, I actually recorded the parts on this MIDI keyboard, and then quantized them, and then had the MIDI being played back through the Nord, which because the instrument can play off the basis of MIDI notes, off like MIDI control, and so I just went and did that because it just meant that I could have the quantized audio, the quantized MIDI signal, and then have that being run through like a really good piano. That's pretty much it. Especially at the faster rates, it was really hard to get those quintuplets being accurate. I think I've then just like deleted the actual original MIDI, so I can't actually show that. But I might well do a video explaining that a little better. So this is sort of... oh, cool. That's the B section, but I've increasingly come to think of this as being the B section. But so we've got this bit here. So there's quite a lot of fun instrumental stuff going on here. Oh! I remember this. Yeah. So one of the things... so there's a couple of things going on here. First of all, we've got piano fast, which is, you know... basically me having done a bunch of piano arpeggios and then just like... and then cutting them up based upon which chord they're on, and then reversing them. So that's kind of like a high... it always makes you think of the end of Motion Picture Soundtrack by Radiohead, that kind of like ambient in the background. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a blueprint for a lot of this sound world, to be honest with you. But then this... let's get a better one. Oh, it's with here. It's with here. No, there's another one. And there's a reason I'm trying to find this. Maybe there isn't. Yeah. So there's like one part which is going... Cool, so it definitely isn't that one. The classic. I think it's this. Yeah, for sure. So what I wanted to do here is that we've got the actual main part. And then I wanted that to happen later on, faster and reversed. So we get this. That is not it. Apologies. So what I did was to record. Actually, this is a bit deceptive. To get this particular part, that's reversed. So having to play that pattern up backwards. So the real version of that, or the recorded version, will be more like this. Oh, you're kidding me! It's gonna be annoying. Hang on. Can we get that? Okay, very quickly, we're just going to cheat slightly, and we're just going to render this to being a new track. Hang on 2 seconds. Just so I can show, basically the item is larger than this is, so I can't reverse it correctly for reasons, but I will just do this quickly. So this is what the actual part was. So we see, like, again. But what it ends up sounding like, if it's reversed, is... So basically, so it's a long-winded way of saying, I took the notes that I play here slowly. So that just descending pentatonic. Then worked out what those notes would be. Played them upside down, and then reversed that. So this is... And it's just, it gets you that really interesting... effect, which I'm sure there are many, many, many more simple ways I could have done for that. But it was quite an interesting experiment of kind of, okay, so if I want a reversed thing, which will be exactly this tune, I have to play it backwards. Yeah, I have to play it backwards and upside down. And it's like, cool, all right, so let's just do that. So that gets us this sound. Et voila. Which I was really, really happy with. Again, it's so much of this, sort of these songs and this project were about, oh, I was interested by how this would be made, or I was interested by how to do this. So a lot of them are kind of just excuses, for, like permissions to myself to just try stuff that I've been wanting to try for a little bit. Here's just some chords. Here are some chords. That is useful. And then we've also got some... So that's the pianos for that kind of middle section. There's some really, really cool stuff, especially toward the end of it. Like, I really, really like this piano bit. Oh, it's in this secondary bit. Yeah. So, okay, while we're on pianos, we'll just... This bit is really fun. So we've got, like, a whole trill section, which is, like, proper Daphnis and Chloé... like Ravel Act 2 opening. Through Timeless, just to give it a little bit of detuning. And typically this will just have been like take 1, take 2, take 3, take 4. Cool. All right. They all kind of roughly work. None of them are too egregiously wrong. Sweet. Let's go for that. As tends to be a lot of what goes into these projects. But I'm particularly fond of that. I just think it's really, really lovely. Nothing too crazy going on there. Just a bunch of improvised trilling around. These, again, are cut up chords which are doing those sort of things. in general, like, there aren't typically a lot of synth sounds. A lot of the sounds are going to be like from the piano. There is a synth in this, but a lot of the kind of background texture will have been created from the instruments themselves, which is the thing I like, but also I think I'm going to be trying differently in future. All right, so that's pianos. So let's talk a little bit about vocals. So that's organ. We don't care about all vox. Here we go. And bevox. All right, so. Again, probably would double track this in future. I just, again, I'm exploring vocal production and what could be done better in future. I'm not happy with it currently. So it's interesting to kind of listen to in isolation. But it's an area I acknowledge I would like to improve. But this is fairly standard, main line, bit of harmony on some of the key parts. Got some extra parts that come in here. Which I think is quite nice. Yeah, like it works. I would like it to be better. And colors me in, colors me in, makes me feel alive. Quiet of me. Which then we will be introduced to later on as well. And then just for clarity and context, I mean. Oh yeah, and then we have the first instance of percussion. So like one of the weird things, like I was kind of saying at the beginning, like when I was initially writing this, that's where it would actually end and make me feel alive. That was kind of the end. And it was sort of more of an interlude, kind of an interstitial piece rather than like a full song. And then I just kind of got here and was like, I think we can go. I think we can continue. And so that's why like the ending section is literally just the words "color me in." And there are a couple of different versions of, well, we're jumping ahead, but like of that ending section that went through a couple of different versions. But yeah, so let's talk about percussion because we have not talked about percussion at all. And then we'll get into white noise and other silly. There's a lot of silly things going on in this ending section. So, do we have a decent region? Are you going to be? Okay, so let's talk about drums. So, bunch of different patterns. Typically, these will have been MIDI, and then I'll have rendered them out so that I can edit them. But we can see, like, I haven't done an awful lot of editing. They're all pretty static, and I don't think I did a lot of bouncing. There's a whole bunch of creative things which didn't quite make it in. Questionable production decisions. More on hi-hats. I have sort of like this obsession, and it shows up a lot in Scuttle, of having a hi-hat rhythm and then having exactly the same thing, hi-hat rhythm, but reversed. So you end up getting these really interesting collisions as well. And it occupies this space in the mix, which is pretty much noise here. Again, we've got a little bit of Timeless doing stuff. Was it you? Again, unsure, like, yeah. It was really interesting to kind of go, cool, that's going to be the snare we use, and we're going to find out, again, like, lots of work to do with improving production for that. And then, like, all of this is realistically just going through Pro Q, doing fun things, and then just through Pro C as well. And then that's what we end up getting with. Jeez, is that really what the curve looks like? We just wanted more of everything. That is a questionable set of curves right there. But we move on. This is what has happened, not necessarily what is perfect. And oh, it was these was it? No. And so the temple blocks. This is hard pan temples. Again, just for fun, really, and just exploring. And then this kind of continues. This definitely underwent a whole bunch of like almost double time, going really, really hard. But this is pretty much as is. Got a bunch of things, and obviously, and also this section is in 7, which is always fun to kind of do drums for. Yeah, I believe there are a whole bunch of other drum layers, like actual drum loops and extra texture, which I just got rid of. Just again for taking up like harmonic space, spectral space, I want to say. And so, but that's where we ended up with that. And then before we get to the organ, which I think's by far one of the most interesting things, here we go with the bass. Oh! No, this is yeah, so that's bass guitar. So that's the acoustic bass. And then we've got the pianos. So I believe this was the first take. I believe. Yeah, so this was the first take of the chords, and then I just did a second version of it, which was pitch shifted up an octave. Nothing too clever, nothing too crazy there. But yeah, so we end up with outro. Again, sort of like we've got instances, yeah, just compressed to within an inch of its life. Poor piano. So that's all cool. So that's what's going on there. We also get this frenetic. Where are you, my friend? You are here. Fast pianos, which never made the cut. Oh, so yeah, we'll come to them in a second. But still, so like we've got. Oh, I've still got the other. It's just the other parts. They're gone. Yeah, I just really wanted that. I just really wanted this one kind of, and because the rhythm for that had to be exactly accurate, that was another one where I actually played it like on the MIDI keyboard, quantized it, and then like, had that played back through the Nord. Just because I just really wanted that, and I couldn't get it in perfect time, in the time that I wanted, and especially when you're dealing with quantized percussion, or at least relatively quantized percussion, the human error element of that takes way more than it adds. For this particular tune, but yeah, we got fast hypey at it. So this did not make the cut, but I still enjoyed it greatly. I think I haven't listened to it, and I will not listen to it. Hang on. So what went on here was just recording, and I actually did take a video of this. It's probably lost in my computer somewhere, of just doing loads and loads of arpeggios that gradually go up, and then had another version which was reversed. So that's why harmonically it's cut at every single chord, because like when you reverse it, if you've got like a chord progression of 1 4 5, if you reverse that, then you get 5 4 1. So you have to kind of cut it up and then rejig where the harmony works out. But I decided that would not make the cut, so sadly that has been muted and left forever. But I think that's kind of the majority of the piano work. There's nothing too crazy going on there, I don't believe. It's just kind of doing what it does. And then we get the vocals. So the vocals, I had just gone for coffee with my good friend Freya Elsie, and then went home and recorded a lot of vocals, and was like, fine, let's just do this. And like smash this out in like about 2 hours. This particular effect of doing the reversed reverb, that's a standard, like in my opinion, like one of the first sound design tricks that one learns in general, of like, you record the thing, reverse the thing, put reverb on the reversed thing, render that, so with the reversed tail, and then you flip that back around so you get the reverb tail reverb tail at the beginning of the audio as being something which is a like which prefixes the audio. Like again, I think it's one of those classic, oh, I heard that in like various films and like anyone ever having like a psychic epiphany, and that's kind of what they'll do, but that ends up with being this. Color me in, hey. So I think there's another part. I think, oh, it's reversed vocals. Here we go. So that ends up like this. So then together, you get that. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, and that was really fun to do. Some reason someone had told, like, I just had this thing in my brain that someone didn't like that, and so I haven't done it in any other songs. I just get these weird little hang-ups, and so this was like, no, I'm gonna do it. And then a bunch of people told me that they really liked that, and I was like, why didn't I just always do that then? So anyway, so don't listen to yourself. You are wrong. Do the thing that you want to do. That is all that matters. Got more backing vocals. Tuning isn't perfect. I would, again, probably like to have spent more time on that, but I just find it really difficult, and especially in the moment, it's like, this is the vocals, let's just do that, and let's just move on. But again, I think I'm looking at this with a more critical eye than just the, oh, let's do it on the 24th of... Yeah, I mean, these are all done within, like, so all the files are timestamped. So these were all done on the 16th of March, and they were done at 12:42 all the way to 12:51. So I just did them all, and that was that, and then just kind of like moved on because deadlines. Again, this is one of the interesting things about the Song a Month project, being that like you got to write, record, produce the song, but also have it ready to be like released. So realistically, you actually have to get the song done like the week before the end of the month. So, you know, I learned loads from it, and I don't regret it, but certainly if I went back and did it again, I would have approached it somewhat differently, but also adds to the charm, I guess. It's just a thing where you can look back on it forensically. Even doing this was like really, even having that kind of choral thing, I don't know, it's actually really difficult for me to decide to do, and to kind of, again, just had like a bit of a creative block about doing. So I'm really, really glad that I did it. Really glad, and I think people have responded to it kindly and nicely. And then we get this lead vocal. Oh, in fact, then I tell a lie, because I recorded all of these vocals. Yeah, that's fair, because I recorded all these vocals, like the backings, a couple of days before, and then I went and had coffee with my friend, and then I got back, and then I recorded all these vocals, which is why, and then this was like a comp of them, so this is why they're all like done at like 3:30 in the, well, in this case, just before 4 o'clock, and this is like, oh, all of these, largely these are all done in the same take, actually. So yeah, anyway, so I just remember being incredibly caffeinated and just going like, right, we're going to record these vocals, we're going to get this done. The funny things that we do. And then if we just listen to if we just isolate the vocals, where are you? Again, there are many, many different ways of navigating this project, and I'm doing none of them correctly. I thought this was a really nice touch, actually. Like, I had forgotten that I'd done this. That's right, because I didn't want the full chorus, but I just wanted, or maybe I did, but I just wanted to accentuate the actual line, so kind of have this slightly. So I got like the, you know, the falsetto doing what it does, and then just really quite like simply stated ending. Color me in. Yep. And I quite like that as a creative decision. I've had lots and lots of positive feedback about this ending section, and I'm really, really proud of it. There's a lot of nice things which are going on here. Things I'd improve, things I'd change, but I'm also really happy with how that came out. All right. let us talk about the synth outro. Let us scroll to the correct place. So, organ. Here we go. All right. So this, oh, it really won't show it too well, but this has got one of my favorite things. Like, this is my favorite part of the track, really. It's this gradually rising thing. And, like, there's nothing crazy in terms of audio, and it just keeps going up and up and up. Yeah, because basically what's going on there is that it's the same set of 4 chords, but because of voice leading, of like switching around where the top note and the bottom note is, it just is continuing to just go up and up and up and up and up. So it's yeah. And that was really, really fun to kind of work out, oh, wait, hang on. If I do this chord, this set of chords in this inversion, and then this set of chords in this inversion, then I can just continue to loop that up and up and up and up. And it'll just go on forever. And I really, really enjoyed that. And harmonically, I'm really proud of this bit. Like, if I had the MIDI, I'd show you more correctly, but it's like, so we kind of like have what is realistically, can we show like, can I just play this now? Oh no, that's the audio, so I don't have the part I don't have the, can this work? All right, we're gonna do it upside down. So like, because this is going, boop-a-doop. Yeah, this kind of like, oh yeah. What did I do? Yeah, that's what we meant. Sorry, apologies. So yeah, so basically we've just got this, what is actually, it looks like an E major, but it's actually F flat, but we'll ignore that for right now. Going to A flat, D flat, E flat. Yeah. That's it, we did the 7th. And then etc, 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 and it just keeps going up and up and up. And like harmonically, there's a whole bunch of like silly things going on there. Like it's sort of, it's just a standard like A flat, D flat, E flat. So it's basically just a standard 1-4-5, but then it has this like flattened 6th that just starts it off. So there's a really interesting like kind of, it just feels like it's the kind of chord progression that makes me really, really happy, because it just feels like it continues and there's never really a rational ending point for it, because because it always starts on that flattened 6, and so it never quite resolves where one might want it to. So I really, really enjoyed those chords and like playing around with them, and then finding like this sound that I could just continue going up and up and up. Yeah, and then at the end, we've just got some really fun tremolo stuff going on as well. That's it. Tremolo gets bypassed and then gets turned on here. And that sound just makes me really, really happy. And then in the background, we've got kick for sidechain. So all of these are also being sidechained, so there's just a little bit of but you don't actually hear that kick, it's a muted kick. Which I think might actually be impacting something else. But either way, it's there. I generally can't remember if it is doing anything. It is. It is doing many things. All right, we're just going to leave that doing whatever it's doing. We have no time for that. But I think that's the majority of like a lot of the fun things about this project. I really enjoyed putting it together. I cannot fit it on my screen, and I don't have the Project Explorer plugin to show you the whole thing, but it is quite large. Oh yeah, and like, you know, okay, so super quickly, like, you know, we've got a bit of, you know, some reverb buses and stuff like that. There's nothing too crazy going on here. Just a couple of instances of Pro R. Just kind of being there, and then we've got a bit of a delay for a drum, and the parts are going there. There's nothing too crazy realistically. But yeah, so this has been a bit of an exploration of this particular project, and I found it really interesting to actually make the song. I found this really interesting to look back on it, honestly. I haven't done another like song a month project for a little bit, and it's been interesting to be reminded of what goes into just making the track. And again, deadlines are everything, and it's just a case of cool, it has to be done no matter what. No matter from a quality control, it's like nope, that's going to be the thing. And I'm really proud of it. Anyway, I hope this has been interesting. If you've learned anything, then let me know. If you've got thoughts, if you'd like me to talk about anything else, let me know as well. And please do check out the track and check out the video that Matt just did, released for it. It's really quite something, and Matt's pretty amazing. And yeah, so JacksorJacksor, ColourMeIn, Reaper session. Have yourself a wonderful day. Thanks so much.